session. You'll find this on our YouTube channel, the Cannafrica YouTube channel. We've got quite a bit to get through, and so I want to start. Like I said, this is a recorded session, and so any catch-up that needs to be done can be done online with our Cannafrica YouTube Training Academy. This is session 14. This will be the last session that will cover the retail and dispensary. It's obviously incredibly important that we get through this, because this is, the basis of our business. This is what allows us to legally dispense cannabis in South Africa. At the last session that we conducted, we finished off with all of the questions that could appear on the questionnaire to our study participants. And so moving on from there, like I said, I just want to get through this in this session so that we can move on to the more exciting things. But we also need to in cognizance of our research project, we know exactly what we're doing here and the reasons we do it. And so it's important that you, as members of Cannafrica, also understand, so that we can share and educate our consumers. And so moving on to point 6, which is the data collection and management. It's the development of a questionnaire. A comprehensive questionnaire is designed that covers the knowledge, attitudes, perception, and practices related to medical cannabis use. The questions are clear, unbiased, and aligned with the study objectives. The questionnaire will be self-administered with a user-friendly app interface. The app will be accessible on various devices and platforms. The functionality and usability of the app will be tested prior to data collection. Clear instructions will be provided to participants on how to access and complete the questionnaire via the app. And this will include information on the estimated time required for the completion, as well as to emphasize the importance of providing accurate and honest responses. And so this comes to the very point when we sign people up to our research project. They're going to fill in the biodata research applicant form. And we need to, at that consumer-facing level, we need to automatically check that the data that they have put onto the forms is in fact true. So we don't need to physically take a copy of their ID or a photograph. But what we do want to see is, we want to see that their name and their ID number are correct as per that they have put onto the form. And then continuing with point C, clear instructions will be provided to participants on how to access and complete the questionnaire via the app. Include information on the estimated time required and the accurate and honest responses. There will be an informed consent process section within the app where participants can provide their consent electronically before proceeding to the questionnaire. Automated reminders and notifications will be set up within the app to prompt participants to complete the questionnaire within a specified time frame. We need to make sure that the data quality control, and so data validation, implementation of data validation checks within the app to ensure data accuracy, such as range checks and logical consistency checks, will be ensured. Participants must review and confirm their responses before submission. With regard to error handling, a protocol will be established for handling data entry, errors, or missing data. Strategies to communicate with participants to clarify ambiguous or incomplete responses, if necessary, that will also be developed. With data cleaning procedures will be conducted to identify and address any inconsistencies, outliers, or potential data entry errors. The sponsor will perform regular data quality checks throughout the study. And then with the data analysis, so the statistical analysis plan is outlining the specific statistical tests and methods to be used for analyzing the collected data, and this will be provided. The data for analysis will be prepared by organizing and coding the variables according to the analysis plan. It will be ensured that the data cleaning and transformation are performed as needed. The statistical analysis will be conducted by using appropriate statistical software, and then the interpretation. The result of the analysis must be interpreted in the context of the research objectives. The findings must be presented using tables, charts, and other suitable visualization methods. And then data retention and disposal. The policy will be established that complies with ethical guidelines and local regulations. The data will be retained for a period of 10 years after the completion of the study. And then when it comes to the disposable, there will be a strategy to secure disposal of the data at the end of the retention period. Participant data will be deleted or anonymized in accordance with ethical guidelines and privacy regulations. The statistical analyst plan is to be conducted statistically sound. The following analysis plan will be implemented by the sponsor. I don't need to go into great detail with you here, but it's just things like a knowledge analysis, an attitude analysis. There's obviously the perception analysis and the practice analysis. There's correlation and a regression analysis, a subgroup analysis. So this subgroup analysis is to explore the differences in knowledge, attitudes, perceptions, and practices based on demographic variables, whether they are previous medical conditions or other relevant factors. The use of appropriate statistical tests, such as chi-square tests or t-tests, or regression models, excuse me, to compare subgroups and assess potential effect modification. There's a sensitivity analysis, and then obviously the interpretation and reporting. And by following this entire statistical analysis plan, the sponsor will be able to analyze the data collected from the self-administered questionnaire on the app and derive meaningful insights into the knowledge, the attitudes and perceptions, medical practices of cannabis use for medical or other reasons. Confidentiality, this is a very important point. I know that we have had instances where we've had consumers arrive at one of our retail outlets and they're not really willing to give out their name or ID number. But a part of this protocol is to ensure that we do get the correct information. If somebody would not like to share their identification number with us, then that they fail to meet the criteria for us to onboard them onto our research project. And so it's not a must. You don't have to join our research project. But if you would like us to legally dispense cannabis to you, you need to give the correct information when onboarding to our research project. But we do give data privacy and confidentiality. And so anonymity is very important. So to ensure that the participant anonymity will be ensured by using unique identifiers or pseudonyms instead of personal identifying information within the questionnaire and app. There's data encryption. So robust data encryption measures are there to protect the participant data during transmission and storage. So that will be implemented. There's a confidentiality agreement. And so the sponsor will maintain a strict confidentiality agreement within the research team to ensure the protection of participant data. This data will be restricted to allow access to data through to authorized personnel only. And there's also secure storage. The data that is collected will be in a secure password-protected database or cloud storage system, and the data will be backed up regularly to prevent loss or unauthorized access. So it's very important that we explain to those that join our research project that the data is very secure with us, not only through anonymity, but also through our data storage process. There are regulatory and ethical considerations. For instance, with informed consent, the participants will be provided with an informed consent form before participating in the study. The purpose, the risks, and the benefits of the study, as well as the voluntary nature of participation, will be explained to them. When it comes to the ethics approval, the sponsor will obtain ethical approval from the relevant research ethics committees or institutional review board. And then the data protection. The researchers will adhere to data protection and privacy regulations, including obtaining necessary permissions for data collection and storage. And there are also ongoing ethical considerations, including informed consent, participant confidentiality, and data protection. And so these will be reviewed regularly. The sponsor will ensure that any updates to ethical guidelines or regulations are promptly incorporated into the study procedures. Research will adhere to the principles of research ethics and promptly address any ethical concerns that arise during the study. We'll have a data monitoring community. There is data quality assurance, and through this, there will be regularly monitoring of data collection processes to ensure adherence to the study protocol and data collection guidelines. And all of this that I'm going through now is so that we are educated, so that we can share with our consumers the fact that this is a completely in line with current regulation to the Pharma Ethics Committee, that we are doing this for these purposes. And obviously that there is the security that we are not going to be sharing personal data, and also we are storing the data that we have received. We will conduct periodic data quality checks to identify and resolve any issues. We will also monitor the response rates. And then on point 3 of this is the adverse event reporting. And so we need to know the good as well as the bad. And so this is a process for participants that is established to report any adverse events or negative experiences related to cannabis use. The process to report adverse events will be clearly communicated to participants, and they will be provided appropriate contact information within the app. And then a responsible team member has been designated to promptly review and address any reported adverse events according to the study's safety procedures. There is a participant compliance and follow-up, and there will be a system to monitor participant compliance, with self-completing the self-administered questionnaire within the designated time frame, and that's how this has been designed. There's also reminder notifications within the app to prompt participants to complete the questionnaire, and the withdrawal rates of participants and reasons for withdrawal will be monitored, ensuring appropriate follow-up to address any concerns or issues. I've been through the fact that we are very strict on our data security and privacy, and the data analysis and reporting. These results will be regularly reviewed, and so that's why it's important that we keep a very clear line of documentation and record keeping. And so comprehensive documentation of all data monitoring activities, including data quality checks, adverse event reports, and participant compliance monitoring, will be maintained. There will be keeping of detailed records of any changes made to the study protocol. This could be through data collection procedures or data management processes. A system has been introduced, a system has been introduced to store all documentation securely and ensure that it is easily accessible for future reference or auditing purposes. And so this is where our SOPs come back into line. The first visit that somebody has to one of our retail outlets, we will explain the study protocol. This is what we're going through now. And then they will also sign that biodata informed consent. It is our task then for us to capture them onto IQ Retail. And the importance of this is for the continued monitoring. And so every time that person returns to one of our outlets for a product containing THC, we will bring up the customer name and then allocate that they have taken to their name. And so if they came in on a Monday and they bought a 3 gram of Exodus cheese, and they come back on a Thursday and buy a Maui Wowie pre-roll, and we revisit that customer on our system, we reopen them on our point of sale system, and we add whichever product has been taken. This will give us the continuation of these THC products that they have taken, at what intervals, and that will give us more of an idea as to their usage, and then also the efficacy of their usage for the ailment that they require. That brings us to the potential benefits of the study participation. And so, will there be any benefits for the participant of the study? And so, yes, 100%. You are now contributing to scientific research. And by participating in the study, participants contribute valuable data that helps researchers gain a deeper understanding of cannabis use for medical and other reasons. Their responses contribute to the knowledge base and can potentially inform future policies, treatments, and interventions related to cannabis. So it's a very important thing, and I'm sure people are incredibly excited when they stumble across one of our stores, or they've found us on social media and they've decided to use our store as a destination. And so, the contribution to scientific research is certainly one of the better benefits that can be achieved from this. There's also increased self-awareness. And completing the questionnaire may prompt participants to reflect on their own knowledge, attitudes, perceptions, and practices regarding cannabis use. This self-reflection can enhance their understanding of their own behaviors and beliefs, leading to greater self-awareness and potential opportunities for personal growth. And so anybody that comes into our retail outlets, that sign up for this scientific research project, through answering these questionnaires, they're going to find out stuff about themselves that they didn't know. And this will also give them empowerment and engagement. And so participants can actively engage in the research process, making their voices heard and sharing their perspectives on cannabis use. This involvement can foster a sense of empowerment and ownership over their experiences, potentially leading to increased engagement in their own healthcare decisions. And then there's access to information. The questionnaire may include educational components of resources that provide participants with evidence-based information about cannabis use, about its potential benefits, the risks that might be involved, and safety considerations. This can empower participants to make informed decisions and promote responsible cannabis use. There is also confidentiality and privacy, and so participating in this study ensures that participant data is treated with strict confidentiality. Researchers adhere to ethical guidelines and data protection protocols to safeguard participant privacy, and this promotes a secure environment for sharing information. So what we're doing with all of this education that we're sharing now is we're showing credibility in what it is that we are doing. We're not here fly by night. We are the leading South African medicinal cannabis company by far, and with that comes this credibility that I'm sharing with you. There's also future benefit potential, and so by participating in the study, participants contribute to the generation of knowledge that may have future benefits for individuals who use cannabis for medical or other reasons. Findings from the study may lead to advancements in healthcare practices, policy change, and improved patient care. So all of this data that we ascertain from everybody that signs up is going to do good for the cannabis community going forwards. We understand there's so much health benefits within this magical plant. And it's only through study that we can take this to the next step, to the next level, and therefore increase future health. There's also increased awareness and education, and by participating, individuals become more informed about the topic of cannabis use, including its potential benefits and risks. This can lead to improved awareness and knowledge among participants, which may positively impact their decision-making and interactions with healthcare professionals. There is also personal reflection and validation, and so completing the self-administered questionnaire may provide participants with an opportunity for personal reflection on their experiences with cannabis use. This reflection can validate their perspectives and experiences, fostering a sense of understanding and acceptance. It is essential to communicate these benefits clearly to potential participants to encourage their active participation and ensure their informed consent. And so the potential benefits for South Africa, the study can bring several benefits to South Africa. Some of these benefits can include informing policy and regulation. So this study can provide valuable insights into the knowledge, the attitudes, and practices surrounding medical cannabis use. This information can be used by policymakers and regulatory bodies to shape evidence-based policies and regulations related to medical cannabis, ensuring the well-being and safety of the population. That's a very bold statement, but this is exactly where we are headed. It also will be enhancing healthcare practices, and so the study can contribute to the body of knowledge about medical cannabis use in healthcare settings. It can help healthcare professionals gain a better understanding of patient perspectives, treatments and outcomes, and potential risks or benefits associated with medical cannabis use. This knowledge can aid in developing more informed and personalized treatment plans for patients. It's also an advantage in South Africa by improving patient education, by understanding the knowledge and perceptions of medical cannabis amongst participants. The study can identify gaps in understandings and misconceptions. This insight can guide the development of educational materials and initiatives to provide accurate and evidence-based information about medical cannabis use, thereby empowering patients to make informed decisions about their own healthcare. Fostering research and development, the study can serve as a foundation for further research on medical cannabis. The data collected from the study can identify areas that require additional investigation. They can inform the design of future clinical trials and guide research priorities. And this can lead to advancements in medical knowledge, potential therapeutic applications, and the development of new treatments or formulations. There are also economic implications. If the study demonstrates positive outcomes or perceptions regarding medical cannabis use, it may contribute to the growth of the medical cannabis industry within the country. I'm going to say that again because I stumbled there. No, but if the study demonstrates positive outcomes or perceptions regarding medical cannabis use, it may contribute to the growth of the medical cannabis industry within the country. And these are massive steps that we are taking. And this could lead to economic benefits such as job creation, investment opportunities, and increased tax revenue. There's also the public health impact. And by understanding the practices and attitudes of medicinal cannabis use, this can have significant significant public health implications. It can help identify patterns of use, potential risks, and areas of concern, allowing public health agencies to develop targeted interventions, harm reduction strategies, and public awareness campaigns to ensure safe and responsible use of medicinal cannabis. There's also participant empowerment and access. By exploring participant perspectives and experiences, the study can empower participants to have a voice in healthcare decision making. The findings can highlight participant needs, barriers to access, and potential improvements in the availability and affordability of medicinal cannabis, ultimately leading to enhanced participant access and care. Overall, the observational study can contribute to evidence-based decision-making, improved healthcare practices, enhanced patient education, and advancements in medical cannabis research, ultimately benefiting the country's healthcare system, public health, and overall well-being of its population. And so these are really positive points to think about what the impacts of medical cannabis could be in South Africa. And it's really, really huge. We look globally. There is so much data available, but we are positioned so uniquely in South Africa that the unique phytoperiod we receive from the sun, the unique UV, the ultraviolet light that we receive from the sun, enables us to grow some of the best cannabis in the world. By doing this, we can create so many more jobs. It's going to give us more data on the health benefits and the impacts that this plant can have. And we should, in the position that we're in, we should feel very proud of who we are in this, leading this field of cannabis in South Africa. There's also risk assessment. And so when participating in this observational study, participants may encounter certain risks. And so they're going to be risked by their own privacy and confidentiality. But I've been through this. There will be no risk of unauthorized access granted for anybody's data. There are risks of data breach or cyber attacks, which could compromise the security of participants' information. And this could expose participants to identity theft, unauthorized access to accounts, or malicious activities. We've had everything in place to prevent this from happening. Participants may experience emotional distress. The questionnaire may ask participants about sensitive topics related to their medical cannabis use, including their health condition, experiences, or opinions. But these aren't there to trigger unpleasantries. We are data collecting. We are compiling data for the benefits. And so these are just some side effects of things. And if you don't want to answer sensitive topics, then possibly this isn't the right platform. There's misinterpretation or misunderstanding queries. There's bias or stigmatization, and there are obviously legal concerns. And so we want to mitigate all of these risks to ensure participant safety. And the researchers will implement the following to make sure of that. We're going to make sure that we use secure and encrypted platforms or applications for data collection and storage to be protected. And we're going to protect the participants' privacy and confidentiality at all times. We're going to clearly outline data security measures and assure participants of the steps taken to safeguard their information. We're also going to provide clear instruction and explanations of the questionnaire to minimize misinterpretation or misunderstanding. And we're going to assure participants of the voluntary nature of their participation and their rights to withdraw from the study at any time. We're also going to make sure that we have obtained informed consent that explicitly outlines the potential risks and benefits associated with participating in the study. And we are going to comply with relevant legal and ethical guidelines to protect participants and their data. Researchers will also provide contact information for participants to reach out to if they have any concerns or questions throughout the study. By addressing these risks and taking appropriate precautions, researchers will minimize potential harm and ensure participant well-being during the observational study. And so, guys, everybody here will know me and know who I am and what I do here within Cannafrica. And so at this early stage, please feel free to use my data, to share my name and number with anyone that has any of these queries. As this study grows, then we'll move appropriately with it. But at these early stages, please, if somebody has any pertinent questions that need some explanation, please feel free to share my details with anyone, either my telephone number or my email address. I want to move quickly on here. We've only got 5 minutes, and so there is a quite informed recruitment strategy, and so we want 100,000 participants to be in this study. We're sitting on about 1,400 at the moment. And so there's a long way to go. And so we just need to make sure that, we recruit as many participants that meet our criteria and that also want to actively have something to do with their own health benefits. There will be store promotions. We're going to collaborate with healthcare providers. We're going to partner with relevant organizations and medical institutions, clinics, and patient advocacy groups. We're going to utilize our social media platforms, leverage social media platforms to raise awareness about the study and engage with potential participants. Like I mentioned, there are going to be questionnaires, and that's going to be easily taken care of through our app. We're going to engage with online communities. We are going to collaborate with influencers. And so we're going to identify influencers, bloggers, or advocates in the cannabis or healthcare space who have a significant following and credibility. We're going to collaborate with them to raise awareness about the study throughout sponsored content, interviews, and or guest posts. We're going to tap into existing research networks. We're going to connect with researchers or research networks already working in the field of cannabis research. We're going to advertise in healthcare settings. We're going to leverage traditional media. Consider reaching out to local newspapers and magazines or radio stations to feature a story or press release about the study. There are going to be incentives for participation, such as gift cards, vouchers, or entry into a raffle for participants who complete the questionnaire. There are going to be referral programs. So there's an awful lot that can be gained, and it's also a way. Once we've onboarded a new consumer, it's a way to keep them active. There's constantly going to be new angles and new variants, and we're going to be introducing new products. So it's very exciting for anybody that is their first time. It's new to our business, to our industry. But for those that join, we are going to be able to hold on to them. We're going to have tantalizing stuff, and that just makes it makes the reason to be a participant. It just makes it a lot more sense. It's very important that we have the patient's informed consent, and so there's various things. There's going to be an electronic one on our app, but what we need to do is we need to make sure that anybody that comes to one of our retail outlets, they are going to sign up to the biodata research project if they would like to be dispensed THC. If their data is incorrect, if we find anything that doesn't meet the criteria of being a research participant, then we don't have to dispense for them. There's going to be obviously a publication. The results of this study may be published or presented at scientific meetings. the investigator agrees to submit all manuscripts or abstracts to the sponsor before submission. Then the sponsor will comply with the requirements for publication of study results in accordance with standard editorial and ethical practice. The sponsor will generally support publication of multi-center studies only if their entirety and not as individual site data. In this case, a coordinating investigator will be designated by mutual agreement. Authorship will be determined by mutual agreement in line with the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors authorship requirements. And so thanks, guys. That's I'm very glad that we've managed to get through this procedure. It's taken us 3 weeks amongst having other things. But please take the importance of knowing what an observational, quantitative, multi-center, retrospective, cross-sectional, and prospective study to examine the attitudes, knowledge, perception, and practices for cannabis use for medical or other reasons in South Africa. We are the only people that offer this sort of training.